It's time for Tiger Talk on the Tiger Sports Network. Tiger Talk, live from Tiger Club inside the Robins Center on the Fort Hays State Campus, is brought to you by these premier Tiger sponsors. Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, banking one story at a time. The Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, expertise, technology, compassion, all right here. BTI, your John Deere dealer with locations in Buckland, Great Bend, Greensburg, Hoxie, Ness City, and Pratt. BTI, our family in partnership with your family. Eagle Radio, Hull Broadcasting, and HayesPost.com, keeping our community connected. And The Taco Shop. Order by phone or use the Taco Shop app. Dine in, pick up, or delivery. The Taco Shop. You've never had it so good. Now, Tiger Talk with the voice of the Tigers, Gerard Wellbrock.
And a good afternoon and welcome to Tiger Talk. We are live inside the Robins Center on the Fort Hays State University campus. We're here part of Tiger Club, and we're certainly glad to have you with us on this Wednesday afternoon as we talk Fort Hays State athletics. We'll be talking some cross country with Coach Jason McCullough here in just a little bit. Jessica Wood-Atkins with volleyball and Chris Brown for football. And here in just a second, we'll run down everything that's gone on in the past week with Fort Hays State athletics and get you up to date with all of that. Again, we remind you to send in your question for the program. Chance to win a Fort Hays State athletics t-shirt. Go to the Fort Hays State Athletics website and click on fans. You'll get the drop-down menu there on the very bottom. You'll see Ask the Coach. So submit your question if you have it for any of our three coaches, and if we use it again, a chance to win that Fort Hays State University athletics t-shirt. Let's go ahead and jump right into it, get you up to date with the last week of activity since we talked to you last Wednesday. Football went on the road to Edmond, losing to number 23 Central Oklahoma 49-24. They're back at home for homecoming this Saturday night, hosting number 12 Central Missouri. 7 o'clock kick Saturday at Lewis Field. And, of course, more with that with head coach Chris Brown a little bit later on in the show. Men's soccer opened GAC play with a 3-1 loss at number 22 Southern Nazarene. Crimson Storm scoring all three of their goals in the second half. Fort Hays State now 3-2-1 overall, 0-1-0 in the GAC. They host Rogers State tomorrow at 7, and then Northeastern State Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock. Tiger men's soccer did drop 4 spots to number 21 in this week's Division II national poll. Tiger women, they opened MIAA play with a pair of road wins. They beat Missouri Southern 2-0 last Friday and then knocked off Pittsburgh State 2-0 on Sunday. That's now 5 straight wins for the Tigers. 4 of those, 4 straight shutouts. They're now 5-1-2 and 2-0 in the MIAA. They're also at home this weekend. Friday, they'll be at hosting Central Missouri. That'll be at 7 o'clock. And then Sunday afternoon, they take on Emporia State. And Mackenzie Caldwell, by the way, the MIAA goalkeeper of the week for a second consecutive week for the Tigers. Volleyball, they go 1-1 on the road last weekend. Opened MIAA play, winning their 8th straight, beat Missouri Southern 3-1 in Joplin on Friday, then lost 3-1 to Central Missouri Saturday. That 8-match win streak, by the way, longest since 2016 when they won their first 12. Tigers now 9-2 overall, 1-1 in the MIAA. They're back at home this weekend, Northwest Missouri State on Friday. That'll be at 6 o'clock at Gross Memorial Coliseum. And then Saturday afternoon at 2, they'll take on Missouri Western State. We'll have more with Coach Jessica Wood-Atkins a little bit later on, and we'll be broadcasting the match on Friday on KAYS Radio. Tennis wrapping up their fall schedule this Friday. They'll be at the Pratt Community College Doubles Tournament. Cross country, they are at Gans Creek in Columbia, Missouri. The women won the team title in a field of 26, all 5 of their runners in the top 25. It was her first 6K race of the season. Emily Dirks leads the way. She finished 3rd overall, but was the top Division II runner in the race. The men were 11th. That was their first 8K race, 2 in the top 20. Jared Fitzemeyer, he finished 16th. The Tigers off until next Friday. They'll wrap up the regular season at Emporia State's Invitational. And again, head coach Jason McCullough, he'll be here in just a little bit to talk about cross country. The women, by the way, ranked 30th in the country in the latest D2 women's poll. Tiger Talk today brought to you by Fans with a Plan. In fact, the Kansas Department of Transportation and the Drive to Zero Coalition invite you to join Fans with a Plan. If you're going to be drinking, always designate a sober driver. We'll take our first break, and cross-country coach Jason McCullough will join us here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by PwC.
He bobbles into the 10-5, touchdown.
Into the edge, and Hayes High's going to win this football game. Johnny Rigler is on the spot.
Fire up the three, and fake it home as it swirls.
Launches a three, bang, nothing but net.
It's dropped in left field, and we are tied as 5 touchdowns.
He didn't get down, Hayes High wins in overtime.
And now the second play of the second quarter. Here comes the blitz. Hebner's going deep downfield. He's got a man. It's going to be caught first down and still in bounds and taking it into the end zone. Jabari Lewis. Jabari Lewis made another great catch and somehow stayed in bounds and scores. Caleb Hebner with the bomb, and the Tigers have an answer. Early in the second, it's 21-6. Yeah, some of the action from Saturday in Edmond. We'll talk some football with Coach Chris Brown a little bit later on in the program. Tiger Talk this afternoon brought to you by Golden Belt Bank. Your life has a story. Golden Belt Bank wants to get to know that story. Golden Belt Bank of Ames and Ellis. Visit them at goldenbeltbank.com. We're joined now by cross-country coach Jason McCullough. We talked about your team at Gans Creek in Columbia, I guess Friday. A lot of Friday. It looks like you guys run on Friday most of the time now. But obviously the women did great. They won the race, and then the men certainly had a good showing. But pretty good day for your runners in Columbia.
Yeah, overall it was a good day. It's amazing that the women won. They I expect them to do well. It was pretty much a pre-national meet for the NAI. There were, I think, 7 or 8 top 15 teams from the NAI there, and some good D2 teams too. We had a few conference teams there, and they just battled throughout. To have a good team performance, you have to have everyone firing on cylinders the same day. So, and that's what happened on the women's team. On the men's team, we did have a couple good top performances, and a lot of our young kids ran well too. We just need to put a few of our 4 or 5 kind of up there a little bit more.
Let's talk about the women a little bit. 40 points for your top 5 runners, all 5 in the top 25 out of a field of 310. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's amazing. Emily, who was here at Tiger Club earlier, but she just moved up throughout the race and finished 3rd overall. She was a national champion at Colby Community College indoors, and she's done real well for us. And then J.C. Vath, who was the 5,000-meter indoor conference champion for us, she was, I think, 13th overall and was our 2nd runner. And then we just put a couple other people real close to her. So a lot of people had personal bests, and like I said, they ran well on the same day. And it's exciting when you're up towards the front of the pack. I think that actually motivates you more. So when you get in the right race like that really helps.
And obviously, you try to do that every time out, but that pack, running, stay together, and obviously if you can do that throughout, you have a great chance. Any sign that you knew they were going to do that, or is just one of those situations everybody was just feeling great?
Well, I had a feeling that they were going to run well, but I usually try not to say that because when I do, they never do. So, but I thought they were ready to run well. They've been training well. They were healthy, got back from illness that we've been dealing with the last few weeks, and they were all really motivated and excited. And that's the one thing. You have to be happy, excited. You have to be motivated. And the girls team right now is really, really going strong because of that.
And we're talking before we went on here. You were pretty well. You represented the state very well in that race.
Yeah, Gans Creek it's a huge meet because they're hosting the national meet in 2025 for Division I. And so there were teams from Stanford, Florida was there, University of Maine was there. And so I think there were 33 or 34 D1 teams there. And so they have 2 races, a Division I race and then a race for everyone who's not Division I. And had we been in the Division I race, we would have been right in the middle of the pack, so about 15th or 16th, and we would have been ahead of all the other state schools, including K-State and Wichita State. So that was pretty fun to see.
I'm sure your team enjoyed that as well. Let's talk about the guys. You finished 11th. You put 2 in the top 20. As you said, they ran really well, those 2.
Yeah, we know we can do well. Jarrett was our top guy, and he was 16th overall. And then Christian Dara, who's a transfer, he had a personal best by over a minute, and he was 19th overall. So they both ran under 25 minutes, which is under 5 minutes a mile for 5 miles. So They did well, and then we had a little bit of a gap, and our 3, 4, and 5, I think really need to believe that they can run better. That's the one thing you have to know that you can run well and believe in yourself, and that's kind of where we're kind of hurting right now. Our 3, 4, and 5 just kind of need to increase that pace just a little bit, stay a little bit closer to the front.
And I know Jared's here today. You brought him as one of your guests with all the athletes that show up for this event. Just talk about him a little bit and his season. He's obviously kind of been the leader for you guys most of the way.
Yeah, he's trained really well, and he's a fifth-year senior, and so that helps. You get a lot of miles under your belt, and you train smart, and you believe in yourself, and you believe in the program, and you're going to do well. I have a lot of success with seniors that are fourth and fifth-year seniors because they're patient, and our program tries to develop people in that third, fourth, and fifth year. So, he's done well. He's led the team. He's been a good, positive role model, and great to have him here for his last year.
Well, we're glad he's doing well, and looking forward to some great things here down the stretch. And you look down the stretch, not a whole lot season left. You have one more regular season meet. That'll be next Friday on the 11th. You guys travel to Jones Park and take part in the Emporia State Invitational, and then the 26th, it's conference time. Just talk about the meet coming up at Emporia State, what to expect, and everything going into that one.
Yeah, it's kind of our last tune-up before conference. Usually that's a little bit faster course, so everyone loves to run a fast time. So it's a 5K for the women and an 8K again for the guys. So it's a good tune-up for the conference meet. There'll be a few conference teams there, including Emporia. And it's a little smaller meet, so it's not quite as stressful as say, the Gans Creek, where you're competing against almost 400 other athletes. But it's a good tune-up for us. One thing someone told me this year is that every place we compete is a black and gold school. And so, including conference, which is Missouri
true.
Western, every single
Wichita
school.
Wichita State, yours, Missouri, now Emporia State.
Yep, and then Missouri Western. So it's all black and gold. This is our black and gold year.
This is, yes. That is kind of funny, kind of coincidental. You mentioned the big meet, and then maybe you go to Emporia, not as big. Does the strategy change for runners when you have such, 300 or more in the race as opposed to maybe 150 or whatever it will be next weekend?
Yeah, we're focused a little more on trying to run together as a pack a little bit better. When you have a smaller meet, you can see people better. And so, you could be in a big meet like Missouri and someone's 20 people in front of you in maybe 4 seconds, but you don't even know they're there. But in a meet like Emporia, you can see people a lot easier. So it's easier to focus on pack running. We'll probably try to focus on that, particularly with the women trying to, run together in a pack a little bit more, a little bit longer, and then really, try to finish hard. You mentioned battling a little bit of illness. How are you guys health-wise? And has everybody progressed how you hoped they would by this point of the season as you start looking toward conference and then beyond that? Yeah, knock on wood. We experienced a lot of illness early on, which I think a lot of teams did. But a lot of them are getting over that now. And, injury-wise, we just got to be careful we don't overdo it. So one thing with training, people always want to go hard. They think the harder you go, the better you're going to get. But the truth is you got to produce stimulus for your body, but it can't be so hard that you're hurt or that you're sore for 2 or 3 days. You have to be able to compete the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day. So the training's just got to be consistent. So my job as a coach in college is really to hold people back. It's not really to try to get them going, it's to hold them back, because everyone wants to go hard, and to keep them healthy, I have to make sure they're not going too hard. Yeah, it's going to kind of follow up about your training and how has it changed, and what phase are you in now compared to when you start the season? How much does it change throughout the course of the season? Not a whole bunch. I want training to be very fluid, and so that you hardly see any changes. So you start out maybe doing a little more miles, doing a little more of a tempo or a slower type of running, and you just gradually increase and put a little bit of faster running in there so that by the end of the season, you haven't really noticed much of a change, but you're running faster. You're doing more sprint work, you're doing more hills, and you're doing a little bit less of the slower tempo type stuff. So there's not really segments. It should be very fluid to where you don't even notice it. And how much, you mentioned all black and gold schools, the courses, have they been similar? Have there been a lot of variances in the courses so far this season? Well, quite a few variances. The one at Gans Creek was, that's a multi-million-dollar course. It's irrigated. You could run barefoot on it. It's like a golf course, honestly, just smooth as can be. So that's nice. Our course was very rough. It's a new course, and it's got all that prairie grass, so it's, you roll ankle pretty easy. So Emporia's kind of in between there. And so, I like to get on different courses. If you're just used to one course and then you get on a course completely different, it kind of can cause some trouble. So this year, it's just a variety of different courses. And, I like them all. I like the fast courses like Gans Creek. That's smooth and fun to go to. But I like the small courses that are maybe a little bit rougher as well. That's a little more cross-country-like in my opinion. Running on a golf course is a little more manicured, and it's okay sometimes. But
all right, well, your guys and gals are having a great season. Great job in Columbia. Good luck at Emporia next Friday, and looking forward to the postseason. It's almost here.
Yeah, it is almost here. Excited for it. It just seems like it rolls by really fast. We got 4 meets, and then we got the postseason coming up. So, yep.
All right. Well, congratulations. Great job. Great job by your runners. Again, you don't do anything. You're just out there cheering them on. But appreciate you taking some time today, and we'll talk to you soon. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Gerard.
There you go, Jason McCullough, cross-country coach for the Fort Hays State Tigers. Again, back in action a week from Friday, October 11th. They'll be at the Emporia State Invitational. Tiger Talk today brought to you by BTI, your John Deere dealer. Locations in Buckland, Great Bend, Greensburg, Hoxie, Ness City, and Pratt. BTI, our family in partnership with your family. Another break. Back with more on the Tiger Sports Network, built by PwC.
Being a foster grandparent has definitely given me a purpose in life.
Just been so happy, just so much more energy than being at home alone doing nothing but watching TV. It's the best part of my life.
Best part of being a foster grandparent volunteer, watching the light up in the kids' eyes.
I'm living again, and the foster grandparent did that for me.
There's a short kick. This time it's going to be returned by Trevor Watts. He's at the 20, 25, 30, 35, cuts out to the numbers 40, 45, 50. One man to beat the 40, and then the Broncos able to converge as the kicker Quevedo slowed him down. But Trevor Watts returns the kickoff all the way down to the 28-yard line, and Fort Hays State will have outstanding field position, down 3 scores and 5:50 to go in the second. More of the action from Saturday night at Edmond, Fort Hays State UCO. We'll talk about that and preview Central Missouri with Coach Chris Brown here a little bit later on. But we're going to talk some volleyball first. Jessica Wood-Atkins joins us. But first, we need to remind you that you can look your best on game day with the official Nike gear from BSN Sports and the Sideline Store. It's simple. Go to the Fort Hays State Athletics website, FHSUathletics.com. Click on Shop. You'll find hundreds of products and designs, and the cool thing is every item is customizable. FHSUathletics.com. Click on Shop and enter the Tiger Team Store. Volleyball coach Jessica Wood-Atkins joins us now. Fort Hays State opening MIAA play on the road this past weekend. They were at Missouri Southern Friday night, and then in Warrensburg to face Central Missouri on Saturday night. They go 1-1. Won that first match against Southern to run their win streak to 8, and then lost at UCM. I guess just overall thoughts. We'll delve into each match in a little bit, but just overall thoughts on the weekend. Obviously, got the first one, kept that win streak going, and always tough in Warrensburg, and then having to travel and all that in there. But your gals battled, I know that.
They did. To split on that weekend is actually pretty good. So I'm pretty pleased with the weekend overall, and I think starting out conference, we started out very strong. Which I hoped we would. We saw Missouri Southern. They were at the tournament we were in the previous week. So we got a little glimpse of them and kind of what their strategies are, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. And seeing somebody live is always a little bit better than watching on film. You can get a little bit better feel of the type of team they are and what they do.
That was going to be my next question, because you're all playing at the same time. Obviously, you get to see film and you evaluate that way, and a lot of the players returning. But you see a team in person. It's like watching a game on TV or being there live. It's a whole different feel, and you just get a lot more out of it. So, and You've been able to do that a couple of times with conference schools.
Yeah, I mean it helps specifically for our passers because you can't really see the way a ball is traveling on a serve, which is the very first point of contact. And that's what we tell all of our newcomers coming in is, in high school you might have seen one tough server and everybody prepares for it and hopes to get through them, and in college everybody serves like that. And so, I think it's most helpful on that front, but also for our blockers to be able to see, some body positioning of the hitters is a lot easier to see in person than it is on film. So I think that helped us against Missouri Southern. We also knew kind of some strategies that they had going in against former opponents that we had just played, and I just think we played them really, really well.
Well, and to start conference off with a win, because there's been years you have a good non-conference, and we've talked about it. I mean, the MIAA is a beast. It's different. But to come out and then win that first conference match for confidence had to be huge.
I think so. I mean, we really have been working hard not to make any match more important than the other. Because we have a really good team and we have a lot of strength, and I think. Really trying to get the girls to focus on what we do, not who they are or what conference they're in, I think has helped them stay mentally in a really good frame of mind a lot. So we all know that the MIAA is a beast. We also know we're in the MIAA and we can be beasts too. And so I think that the girls really took hold of that and hopefully maintain that frame of mind moving forward.
Close match as we see so often. You got off, won the first two, and then lost that third set by 4, and then came back and won a tight one in the fourth to avoid that fifth, because those can sometimes could be a wild card. Mm-hmm. Just what stands out from the Missouri Southern match for you, because they were all pretty highly contested.
They're all pretty highly contested. I would say, we got no help from the officials in that match. So we were battling 2 opponents during that match, and that happens. Mm-hmm. That happens when you're away, and you don't make too much out of it. You just know you've got to keep pushing. But I do think that definitely played into some of the battles back and forth. But I think overall we played very, very steady. And I think specifically, our serve receive remained very strong that match, and when you do that, you have a lot more opportunities to run a more dynamic offense. When your serve receive struggles, you get a little bit more one-dimensional. And so I think we did a nice job that match.
Central Missouri, you win a tight 125-23 to start, and then just felt like you couldn't keep the momentum from that one to carry over the rest of the night.
Yeah, well, just kind of to touch base on what I just said, mm-hmm. We serve received really well that first set. And then I kind of harped on my student assistant because she said it out loud, and I said, "Don't jinx it, Jessica." But she, they really attacked us. They've got a really long gym where they can just step way, way back on the serve and just wail on that ball. And that's kind of one of the advantages we have in our gym. And so, they were really getting after it on that one. And and I think the biggest part that hurt us in that was just our youth. We've got 5 defenders that are all pretty new, either to the program or to their position, and it just showed a little bit. They did fine. It's just that when you have some seasoning, that helps in matches like that. Because Central Missouri, we know going in, it's going to be a battle, point for point. They're going to get theirs, and we're going to get ours. And so they pushed us on that serve receive and kind of tried to minimize our offensive options. And so when that happens, we're chucking it up to the outside a lot. And both the Graces did a fantastic job with that. They really did. And we tried to do the same to them. I would just say they did it a little bit more than we did.
And you mentioned for the less experienced players, you play back-to-back a lot, but mm-hmm. to play, travel, play again, I mean, that is different. And not an excuse, but it's something you have to, probably more mentally, I would think, as much as anything, get used to that. We do. I mean, that trip in particular is one of our longer ones, and we do have to account for that because that second day, you go to Missouri Southern, it's a 5.5-hour drive, and then you turn around and take another 3-hour drive the next day. We don't get the day in between of recovery like some of the programs do, and so but everybody's in the same boat. Mm-hmm. Everybody's doing the same thing. But specifically going in that the reflexes are actually just not quite as sharp that second day as they are the first day. And so that's where you do have to make up for it mentally. And the older you are, the more you recognize that. Tigers still off to a great start, 9-2 right now, 1-1 in the MIAA, and you're going to be home for a while. What do you have, like 5 straight at home? That'll be a little different. That may take some adjustment for everybody to get used to, not have to get on a bus. But Friday night, Northwest Missouri State, Saturday afternoon, Missouri Western, not a big turnaround. Northwest has been good. They're maybe haven't been quite as good so far this year, but you know their program. They've been solid, 20-win team, and Missouri Western's always good. And they have Kearney and then Washburn and Emporia. 5 home matches, but 5 really quality teams coming in for those matches.
Yeah, really quality teams, but I think anytime we're at home, it just fuels the girls' fire. They get so excited to be at home. If anything, like Coach was saying, we got to kind of pull them back and say, calm down a little bit, but they love, because we've got an incredible support from both our fans and our families, and they love that. They really draw a lot of energy from that. And so I think that'll be good, but they understand like Northwest and MoWest are 2 very different teams. Northwest is they're a little bit smaller, faster, but they're kind of brainy, like they're very unemotional, very strategic. It's almost like, going up against a bunch of engineers, like you're like, are you alive? And they do a good job with that, they're very steady, as where Missouri Western is a very emotionally based team, and they love to hit, and they love to hit hard, but you can get in their heads, if you do the same back to them, because emotionally they run some highs and lows. And so 2 very different programs, but I think we'll be well prepared for both of them.
That's right. It should be a lot of fun. Friday night at 6, Saturday at 2, and then Kearney next Tuesday. And I just want to you mentioned it before we went on here, but that's your Cancer Awareness Night. That's always a big deal for your team, and that'll be on Tuesday with the Lopers.
It is. It's a good one. And, Coach Kohler started a scholarship before I got here, and it's a really, really great, amazing, cool thing where anybody that's a Fort Hays student can apply for the scholarship whose lives have been impacted by cancer. And so it's really open. And, when we get to read those scholarship applications, it really – gives you a different sense of appreciation, and we like to be able to support them and kind of give back. And it's a fun one. The girls get to wear hot pink, which they love. I hate, but they love. And, yeah, anybody that wears pink gets into the match for free. We also sell T-shirts. This year we heard the voices from our male fans saying they didn't want to wear pink as often. So the shirts are black with pink lettering, and they're really attractive. But all the proceeds from that event do go to that scholarship. It's an endowed scholarship that we hope to award every year.
Very good. It's a great thing, and hope to see you out there on Tuesday. But certainly want to see you out there on Friday and Saturday as well. Coach, as always, appreciate the time. Looking forward to seeing you guys in action Friday night.
Thank you.
There you go. Jessica Wood-Atkins, Fort Hays State Volleyball again. Friday night at 6, Northwest Missouri State. Saturday afternoon at 2. We'll have Friday's match for you on KAYS. Tiger Talk is brought to you by the Hayes-Med Orthopedic Institute, the most comprehensive orthopedic care in western Kansas. Let the expert at Hayes-Med Orthopedic Institute help you move freely. Learn more at hayesmed.com/orthopedics. We'll talk football with Coach Chris Brown next on the Tiger Sports Network, built by PwC.
That was another legend on 99 KZ Country. And yes, before that, we had a brand new artist. Your home for today's stars and the legends. We play real country. I'm Teresa Trapp. Weather, news, sports, it's all here. We're on Facebook, and there is a listen live link at hayespost.com. Dial us in on your radio at 99.5 FM. KHAZ, real country. 99 KZ Country.
Will line up to the right of Huebner, who's wearing 16, slaps the hands it off to Watts. He gets into the goal line, extra effort, gets him in. Touchdown, Fort Hays State. A 1-yard touchdown run by Shane Watts. His 6th rushing touchdown of the year, number 11 in his career. Yeah, more of the action from Saturday, and Edmond Tigers come up short to the Central Oklahoma Broncos. Welcome back to Tiger Talk. Hey, Tiger Athletics, proud to partner with the Kansas Drive to Zero Coalition. Encourage you to join Tiger fans with a plan. Always have a designated driver or other sober ride to and from your destination. Especially important here this weekend, Oktoberfest and homecoming. We'll talk about the homecoming game in a little bit, but first, Tigers come up short in Edmond against Central Oklahoma, joined by head coach Chris Brown. We talked about it last week. Good opponent, very challenging opponent. They run a lot of plays. They score a lot of points. They put up a lot of yards. And they did all of that on Saturday, but probably what made it frustrating is you still had your best offensive game and you moved the ball against them. but just struggled 1 for 4 in the red zone in the first half, and you convert on a few more of those, that's an entirely different football game on Saturday night.
Yeah, it definitely is. And then we got to score when we get into the red zone. We went for it on, fourth down that one time, and we didn't get it. And we kicked a couple field goals, and we got one blocked as well, which, took points off the board too. But, defensively we gave up too many big plays. And so I think that it was my position that, gave up 5 of those plays on deep balls and missed tackles and things like that. So just got to clean things up, get better, and hopefully not let that happen this week.
Big plays. Are you surprised, because you allowed 7, what we call impact plays, 20 or more yards in that game. You'd given up 9 in the first 4 games combined going into that one. So you give up a bunch, and it's such a veteran squad back on defense, and they were pretty good about that a year ago. Are you surprised at the amount of those impact plays that the defense has allowed this year?
Yeah, I was. I was really surprised, especially in this game. I mean, the amount that we gave up, and, in my position, gave up 3 big, passes, maybe 4, and it's just – just better with their eyes, better with their feet as well, and get more connected to the receiver and, doing their job and doing their assignment. We kind of got off our reads a little bit and took our eyes off our own receiver that we were covering, and they got us a few times. So just got to be more disciplined with that. But, yeah, I am surprised at the way it happened. And, it wasn't that they didn't see these plays in practice, because we ran all those plays we got beat on in practice against those players, but we just got to make the plays.
Yeah, talking to some of the guys after the game, that's what they said. Everything that we saw tonight, we saw in practice, so it wasn't a lack of preparation in that regard. It was execution. And give UCO credit. They're talented. Their quarterback gets the ball out of his hand quickly. He's got some talented wide receivers. And when you let them get behind you like they did, that doesn't spell for very good results.
Yeah, number 8 had some speed. I didn't realize, how fast he really was until we got there on Saturday and saw him run around on the field. Okay, that he's a pretty good ball player. And the quarterback, like I said, he's a small guy, but he can play some football. He's got a quick release, and he gets it out of his hands really, really quick. And it was just the big plays. We eliminate those big plays. Good things happen for us, and because we had them in situations where we wouldn't give it the big play, that they were 3rd and long, and we just couldn't get out of it, get out the big play, and they scored a touchdown. So then offensively, I thought, we need to score in those red zones. And I think that first pick, right after they scored and we went down, drove down, and could have scored as well, and we didn't do that.
Yeah, I had a chance to answer and make it a 7-all game. They go up 14. It kind of derailed from there. You bring Caleb Heavner in that first quarter. He played pretty well, threw for a touchdown, ran for a score, 55 yards. That 30-yard touchdown run was pretty impressive. Just your thoughts on his play, really his first extended duty so far this year, and really for his career.
Yeah, no, he did a really good job, coming in for his first game. And, our plan was to play both of them no matter what in this game. And he just happened to get in there and did some good things, hitting the receivers that he needed to hit, being able to scramble and stay in the pocket and throw downfield as well. And, I thought he played tremendously well. He still missed a few things, but, young guys are going to do that when they get their first start and get their first look at playing against a real live defense. But, all in all, he stepped in and did a great job for us, and I'm excited to see what he does these next few weeks.
All right, I'll ask the million-dollar question, the big elephant in the room. You can feel it. Who's going to be a starting quarterback on Saturday?
Yeah, I believe it'll be Caleb. He's kind of proven himself over the last few weeks, and then last week, he really proved himself as well. And not that him and Jack still aren't battling for that spot, but right now it looks like it's going to be Caleb, just with his production of during last game and what he's done so far.
And I know those aren't easy decisions, and it's interesting. And we talk about the quarterback position, and obviously it's very important. I mean, you watch football, you understand that, but sometimes they get way too much credit. When things go well and when things go bad, it's easy to blame the quarterback when it's not always their fault. But that's kind of the position. You can change out a left tackle, or you can change out a linebacker or a corner, and no one maybe notices, or that's just part of it. When you make a move at quarterback, that's just a big deal. Just talk about what all goes into that, and just how important of that when you do decide to make a move that is.
I mean, it's hard, because Jack's done a lot for this program. He's going to continue doing a lot for this program as well, and it's just one of those situations where we just felt like Caleb was kind of at his heels, and when he needed to get a chance to get on the field and play in some real live action, not when it's mop-up duty or something like that. It's when it's really in the heat of the moment to see how he handled those things, and he handled it really well. And you never know, the same thing could happen this week. Maybe Caleb is off a little bit, and then we throw Jack in there, and it's a whole different story. So the good thing is we got two really, really good quarterbacks. And, most teams don't have the quarterbacks like we do. They got one guy, then the next guy comes in is not so good. But we have two guys that we truly believe in and that can get the job done for us.
All right, well, should be a fun one Saturday. And you go from the number 1 scoring team in the nation to the number 2 scoring team in the conference. Another high-flying opponent. Central Missouri comes to town for homecoming on Saturday night. We will get a preview when we come back. First, need to remind you, Tiger Talk is brought to you by The Taco Shop. Order by phone, use their Taco Shop app, dine-in, pick-up, delivery. They're just east of the Fort Hays State campus on 8th Street. The Taco Shop, you've never had it. So good. More with Coach Chris Brown next on the Tiger Sports Network, built by PwC.
When it comes to screen printing and embroidery, your first choice should be Redeem Designs in Hays. Turn it up with Redeem Designs, where it's not just about the products, it's about the partnership. At Redeem Designs, you're part of the process. They work closely with you to ensure your vision comes to life. So turn up your 2024-25 season with Redeem Designs.
Back to pass, 3rd down and 10. He's got some room. He steps up in the pocket. Now he's going to run. He scrambles for the first down and more. 15, 10, breaks an ankle tackle, 5, cuts to the right. He's going to score. Touchdown, Caleb Heavner on 3rd down and 10 from the 30. Yeah, quite a run by Caleb Heavner as the Tigers didn't quit in that game but come up short to the Broncos of Central Oklahoma. We're back with head coach Chris Brown. Fort Hays State gearing up for homecoming with Central Missouri. I guess if there's one maybe difference, Caleb a little bit bigger guy, and he showed on that run. That was pretty impressive. He found the hole, he ran, and then he broke out of a couple of tackles to get it into the end zone. That was one of the better runs of the year for anybody on your team.
It was very impressive. He sat in there and he went to one side of the field, broke a couple of tackles, went to the other, missed a guy, and then he got to the end zone. That was an impressive play by him, and I can see him doing more impressive plays like that as the years go on. But he's a hard guy to bring down. He's strong, very physical runner as well, and he's not one that likes to slide. So when you start teaching him how to slide a little bit in certain situations,
there are a few times you should have.
He's not one of those guys. He just wants to be physical and run and play the game the way it's supposed to be played.
All right, number 12, Central Missouri comes to town on Saturday night. The Mules made the playoffs a year ago. You could argue they were as good as any team in the country. They lose by 1 on a blocked extra point at Harding during the playoffs. They won the national championship. Got off to a good start, lost at Central Missouri as well. They haven't produced quite as much offensively the last couple of weeks as they did the first two, but one of the best offenses not only in the MIAA in the country. They've got the reigning Harlan Hill winner in their quarterback, Zach Zabrowski. Another big challenge, another high-flying offense that your defense is going to face on Saturday night.
Yeah, quick tempo. It's great facing two great quarterbacks right in a row as well, which is tough for us. He's probably a little bit more dynamic with his, able to extend plays and scramble around. So we've got to find a way to keep him in the pocket. And when he does scramble, we have to do a good job as a defense of locking on our receivers and keeping our eyes on the receivers. But we just can't get him and let him get out and let him run around because that's when he's at his best.
He's really good. He's got, I think they've had 11 guys catch 10 or more passes. 14 have caught at least a pass. They really utilize the running backs in the passing game, and they just keep bringing receiver after receiver, and they're all like 6'3", it feels like. And just some big guys.
They are big, and they do a good job with the transfer portal. They know a lot of guys at the D1 level, so they bring a lot of those kids in and get them in as well. And he's got weapons to throw to. We just got to be able to get to him, keep him in the pocket, and hopefully get some sacks and cover up the receivers of their secondary.
All right, Fort Hays State in their all-time in program history, 1 win over the number 12 ranked team in the country. It was a homecoming game when you did that against Nebraska Kearney. Hopefully you can continue that trend Saturday night.
I'm down for it, Gerard. Thank you.
There you go. That's head coach Chris Brown. Fort Hays State, Central Missouri, homecoming this Saturday night at Louisville. It'll be a 7 o'clock kick. We'll be on the air at 6 with our Tiger Tailgate Show. That's going to wrap it up for Tiger Talk. Thanks to Jason McCullough, Jessica Wood-Atkins, and Coach Chris Brown. Hope to see you at all the activities this weekend. About every team is at home, so a lot of Tiger athletics to go watch here for homecoming weekend. We'll talk to you again next Wednesday here on Tiger Talk on the Tiger Sports Network.
Tiger Talk, live from Tiger Club inside the Robins Center on the Fort Hays State campus.